guys, Preacher 357 here. It's a beautiful day here in Tennessee. It's in February, early February. Very warm today, very nice, sunny skies, and I'm out here on the range. And I'm very happy to be out here on the range with a couple of Pistol Caliber Carbines. You saw the last video I made with the Henry Homesteader 9mm. Here it is again, as well as the Ruger PC9 carbine. I've got both of those out here today. We'll start off with the Henry here. If you saw the previous video, I have made a change. This magwell here is a magwell for Glock magazines. I did buy that. It didn't come with this gun, though there are some versions of this gun, I believe, that do come with the magwell. But I bought this off the Henry website. They shipped it to me. I installed it. I almost made a video of how to install this thing, but I didn't because it's so simple that there's really no reason to have a video for it. And there's already a video up, but you knock out 3 roll pins here. You just drive them out, take the stock and the trigger group out, take the magwell out, put the new one in, put that back, put 3 roll pins back in, you're done. It's pretty simple. It took me all of about 2 minutes, I think. One thing I am noticing though is that one of these roll pins is not wanting to stay in like it was. Apparently after you knock it out, it's not as tight in there as it was. I may have to do something about that, but we'll see how it holds up here. But I have made that difference, that change, I'm sorry, and we'll see what kind of a difference it makes. Because the biggest problem I had with this gun when I did the previous review was I hated those proprietary Henry magazines, didn't like them at all. And so this will rectify that problem. It'll make me able to use Glock magazines, which I know are fine. And I've also got the Glock magwell in my Ruger PC9, so they'll be using the same magazines interchangeably. One difference between the two you'll notice is that the charging handle is on this side. On the PC9 I've got it on the other side, but they're interchangeable. You can change both of them, and I don't care enough to change either one of them right now, so I just left them as is. Henry has this tang safety here. The Ruger's got a crossbolt safety, but when you look at both guns side by side, put them on the table next to each other, they're almost identical in length. You know, they feel a lot alike. Very similar ergonomics to them. Obviously, the Henry wins for beauty, as it's got the walnut stock, which I do love. I really wish Ruger had the walnut stock available on their gun, but unfortunately they don't. I believe there's some aftermarket people that are making them, and they cost about $300 I think, which would probably make the Ruger even a little bit more than the Henry to do that. But I really wish Ruger would come out with something like that, and maybe they're afraid under the Ruger brand it wouldn't sell, I don't know. But one idea that I have for them is, why not market it as a Marlin? Ruger owns Marlin now. Come out with a new Marlin Camp 9, which is basically just the PC9 action with Marlin styling and a walnut stock, and I think that would probably sell fairly well. So there you go, Ruger, there's you an idea. Marlin Camp 9 Gen 2. That's basically the same as the PC9, but with Marlin styling and wood stock. But I've got them out here today just to test them out, shoot them side by side, see which one I really like, because I don't know if I'm gonna keep both of them. I may keep one and get rid of the other one, because I've got more guns than I can shoot already. And I'm always looking for more guns for the channel, and they're not inexpensive. So, you know, I do a lot of trading. So I don't know if I want to keep both of them. So I guess I need to decide which one I'm going to keep, if I'm going to keep only one. But here's the Ruger here, which you hadn't seen on the channel in a while. Did a review of this a long time ago. I've had this gun for, well, ever since it hit the market. I bought the very first one that hit the market. And one thing about the Ruger is it's got these inserts here to make the pull longer, make the stock longer. And with all three of them in that came with the Ruger, it's basically the same size as the Henry. So I'm glad Henry didn't make it as short as the stock on the Ruger was originally without the inserts. The sights on both of them are pretty good sights, ghost ring sights. You've got a little bit longer sight radius on the Henry, by a little bit. The Henry sights are about right here by comparison. So a little bit longer sight radius. Of course, the Henry is not a takedown. You can take this one apart, take the fore end and the front off, the barrel off. Can't do that with the Henry. Not something I'm going to do, but you know, that's part of the PC9's features. So that's something the Henry doesn't do. But anyway, I want to get out here and do a little bit of shooting with them. One of the biggest differences between these two guns is the trigger. That's the biggest difference between the two, besides the wood stock, obviously. But when shooting them, the Ruger here has got about a 4-pound trigger, a little under. My trigger gauge is bringing it up about 3 3¾ pounds, somewhere in that range. And my gauge is reading that Henry trigger at almost 7 pounds, or right at 7 pounds. And that's pretty heavy. It doesn't feel bad when you shoot it. It's a decent trigger as far as crispness and you know, not a lot of take up, and you know, there's not creep in it, and it's a clean break. It's just heavy. It doesn't really seem to affect my ability to shoot it too much, but you know, when I switch between the two rifles, that's one thing I noticed pretty quick. You know, when I was shooting the Henry and then I switched over to the PC9 the first time, the first shot got away from me a little bit because I wasn't expecting it to be such a light trigger, because I'd already gotten used to that Henry having a little bit heavier trigger. So there is a difference there, but I'm really enjoying both guns, and they both got their pros and their cons to them. But I want to do a little bit of shooting with them and just see if I can decide which I like better. And one of the strange things is I haven't seen a lot of people make the comparison between these two guns. And that was the first thing that came to mind when the Henry was released, was like, that's like a Ruger PC9 with a wood stock. And but I haven't seen a lot of people really making that comparison. I had a comment on my last video that basically said the same thing, that not many people are making the comparison, and I'm not sure why, because that's the first thing that comes to mind for me. But anyway, guys, we need to do a little bit of shooting, so let's get over here and do that. But before we get over here to the table and load up some ammo, if you would, check out the description. There'll be a link there for the GOA, the Gun Owners of America, for a discounted membership there, and you can get in the fight for our gun rights on the national level. We do have a lot of rights now. A lot of good work has been done. We've secured a lot of the rights we should have had all along, but there's still more work to be done. There's still those out there trying to take away those rights, even though they try to claim they're not. We know they are. And also, there's a link there for the TFA, the Tennessee Firearms Association. If you live in the great state of Tennessee like I do, you can get in the fight on the state level. The TFA does a lot of work, fights really hard for the gun rights here in Tennessee. Or if you don't live in Tennessee, I'm sure you've got a state group as well, because a lot of these fights are on the state level. And also, there's a link there for Weatherbeard Supply Company. Beard care products I've been using for well over a year now, about 1.5 years. And I really like them, so I got with them, and they've agreed that, you know, if you use that link that I put up there and buy some of their products, that they'll in turn give me some of the proceeds in order to help me buy guns and ammo. So I appreciate that, and if you would, check those links out. And if you want to have a nice, healthy, soft beard, then I'd encourage you to use Weatherbeard products. So anyway, guys, let's get over here and do a little bit of shooting. I've got several magazines loaded up here. I've got 3 17-rounders and 1 15-rounder. I thought I had more 15-rounders than that, but I don't. I can't find them. These are all actually Magpul magazines. I think I got rid of all my Glock magazines when I sold my 9mm Glocks. Now, I may have some more at some point, but as of right now, I've gotten rid of them, traded them off. So I still also have this ETS magazine, which is a 32 round. I'm not sure how reliable this thing always is. I've had some failures with this, so if I'm shooting with this, and if I decide to shoot with this, we have a failure, we're not going to count it against the rifle. But these Magpul, I've never had a single bit of problem with those. So all the ones I've got here, I've shot with and never had any issues. So let's start out here, and I'm going to start out, I think, with the Ruger. And I'm going to start out with a 17 rounder. Well, it helps if you see the magazine properly. Let's get her in there. All right, I think it's in there now. All right, let's see if we can hit these plates. I would hope I can at, 22 yards, or roughly what this is, with a carbine or rifle. I ought to be able to hit these fairly well. Safety is off. Let's just give her a try here. All right. Well, we had a failure there. I wonder if that's because I had that magazine not seated as well as I should have. Yeah, failure to extract caused a double feed problem there. You know, it would happen on camera. Hadn't had a bit of issue out of this rifle. I've shot it a couple of times with the Henry and hadn't had any failures whatsoever. So that was a new one there. I don't know what caused that, but that may have been me. I may not have gotten that magazine seated properly. So let's try her again. Let's pick up where we left off here. Well, we had another failure there. This is surprising. Very, very surprising to me, because I have not had any issue with this gun. Now, I've been shooting it a little bit. It's got a few rounds through it, but I don't think it would be so dirty that it would cause a problem. Oh, Ruger, you're not doing too well here. I mean, I tell you, this is something new, that it hasn't been doing this, but, all you can know is what you see, and you're seeing it mess up, so keep trying here. And the same thing again. What in the world is going on? Huh. Been running flawlessly, and just all of a sudden decides to give me problems. But that's what happens sometimes when you're filming, and what happens, happens. Let's try it with the Henry here. Well, what in the world? Guys, I'm not having a very good time here. I'm having all kinds of trouble. There it goes. Apparently the safety had gotten switched on, and that's what was causing the problem. All right. Maybe I'll have a little better luck this time. All right, well, it fed that time through this one. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to pause the video right now, and I'm going to clean the Ruger PC9 and then come back out and see if that solves the problem. So just hold on for just a minute. All right, guys, I've cleaned the PC9 and it was extremely dirty, but probably didn't have but maybe a couple hundred rounds through it. In fact, it probably had half the rounds the Henry does through it, but it was extremely dirty. And I've noticed that this gun does get very dirty in the action, but got a few rounds left here in that magazine. Lock the bolt back first. See if it'll just run the rest of these. And then we'll try a full mag. Alright. Safety was on. Yeah, seemed to run those. So let's try a 17 rounder now. We'll just blast away over here again and see if that fixed the problem, whatever it was. Just blasting away out here. Seems to be doing fine now. But sometimes that's just what happens. Sometimes they get dirty and they just get just enough stuff in there that it causes a problem. Never had that happen before. I know I put more rounds through it than I have this time, but just the way it is. But might be something to keep in mind with the PC9 is it might be a little finicky when it comes to dirt. May not like to be dirty. PCCs, Pistol Caliber Carbines are a lot of fun. Yes, they are. But I don't think I'm even going to use that ETS magazine. I'm just going to load up a few more rounds here. Go out here to these ones at 100 yards, 80 yards. And then just give you my final opinion. I mean, the whole not working thing didn't endear me to the Ruger at all right there, but you know, if it's one of those issues where it's just needs a cleaning, I guess that's not the end of the world. But you'd hate for that to happen if you were actually using it for something important. No, I'm not going to. It's just a range toy for me. It's not something I actually use for defense or for anything else. It's just something to come out here and blast away with and have a good time. But maybe you are using it for defense, and if that's the case, I'd recommend keeping it clean. But if you are using a gun for defense, usually you're not going to be carrying around or using it with several hundred rounds already through it. After you get done at the range, you're going to clean it up. At least I hope you are. So as I've said in previous videos with different guns, it's not the end of the world if it won't run when it's really dirty, but you know, a modern firearm generally these days, they're able to. You know, there's a time when, you know, a semi-auto got really dirty and you kind of just expected it to stop working. But these days, you know, there's guns with tens of thousands of rounds through them with no cleaning and they're still going. So, you know, supposedly the original Glock that they tested, the prototype, never had been cleaned and had hundreds of thousands of rounds through it. Now, I don't know if you want to believe that or not. Maybe that's just some marketing, but I do know that there's evidence, plenty of evidence of people having Glocks going tens of thousands of rounds without a cleaning. But, you know, rifle action's a little different. We've almost got her loaded up here. All right. I'm going to take the Ruger here. We're going to go out to 100 yards. See what we can do out there and maybe try a little bit at the one at 80 as well. That's a little low. Can't tell if those are hitting or not. Having trouble hearing them. I hear some of them, but some of them I can't tell if I'm hitting or not. I never did go to the one at 80, did I? I just blew them all on one at 100. So why don't we do that again with this one? And maybe you can judge better than I can how accurate I'm being. I heard them some, but sometimes I can't tell if I was hitting. I may have missed some of them. Well, we got 2 more magazines. So obviously we're going to try this one out here at 80. A little bit harder to hit this one. It's only a 12-inch plate, only 20 yards difference, and it's half the size. So let's see. I heard that one. Hunting all around for it. And finally found it. Just finished this one off right over here. Oh, we had another malfunction. Ruger, Ruger, Ruger. It was on the next to last round too. Huh. It didn't eject the round completely. It stovepiped on me. Got one more round here. I'll shoot it. I don't know about that. What's going on with the Ruger here? Because I've never had any real issues with it. And I've shot it quite a lot, you know, over the years. I've had it probably 7 years, 6 years. And this is the first time it's given me any trouble. I've had it out here on the range 2 times since I got the Henry before this, and not a single malfunction either time. And then I get it on camera, it lets me down. Lets me down. Man, I'm really thinking about keeping that Ruger too, because I love the trigger on it. Oh, but it's just not wanting to perform today. All right. Well, I seem to have the range with the Henry a little bit better than I did the Ruger. You know, considering how heavy this trigger is, it's over twice the weight of the, no, I'll take that back. It's not over twice. It's a little less than twice the weight of the Ruger, but still, I'm able to shoot it really well. It's not really seeming to affect my accuracy too much. And it's feeding everything I give her, so guys, I don't know. Very disappointed in the performance of the Ruger. I was expecting more. I was really expecting to come out here and say I just like the Ruger better. And I don't know if I can do that. I really don't. You know, putting that Glock magazine well on the Henry made a big difference. It really did in my enjoyment of this rifle. And I really did enjoy this rifle a lot today. And those were actually the first shots I'd ever taken with the mag well for the Glock. So I didn't know if that was going to cause an issue or not, but apparently not. It performed perfectly and the Ruger let me down. But there they are, guys. Compared as best I know how to compare them. Very similar guns, very similar ergonomics, similar sights, similar size. I mean, you couldn't be much more close in comparison unless both of them had wood stocks. I mean, otherwise, you know, they're very, very similar. Unfortunately, reliability was the difference today, and the Ruger just didn't do it. Seemed to do a lot better after I cleaned it, but then I still had that last stovepipe, so disappointed, very disappointed. And I know when the Ruger first came out, there were people who had issues with reliability with it, but I never had that issue. I never had that problem. And it was just waiting to rear its ugly head today, apparently. So don't know what's causing it. I'll mess with it a little bit more, but it is what it is. You know, I'm not setting out to make the Ruger look better or worse than it is, or the Henry better or worse than it is. I just hit record on the camera, sit out here and talk and shoot, and what happens, happens, and you saw it. So guys, I appreciate you coming out. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.